are we going here? There's the gap. I think that might have been the gap fill that I was looking for. Yeah, I think that's the gap fill I was looking for. But I want something to form here. 75, 75, 75 to 61. Looks like we're kind of pumping here. Looking for Friday's high to potentially be taken out. This thing looks like it should take Friday's highs in theory. NQ's actually headed down here. Oh, YM's kind of headed down too, but ES is up. Very funky price action. I want to see if Friday's highs can get taken out here. Pretty sizable gap to fill also. Above the upside pivot there. And looks like VIX is headed lower. $75.83. There's a chance this thing just keeps on running towards 76.50 if it is a bull run. Be some rejection maybe here where the naked POC is at, but I don't think that this thing's going to continue going. This is roughly where I would have wanted to show points. $75.85. Where did we open at? Oh, okay, we opened at 75. 25 points. I think this is 75.96. Success rate today, 75. 4.6. 4.6 would be gap though. Okay. YM is headed for Monday's highs, weekly highs. So we'll see how we act around there. Some rejection there. $75. Yeah, we swept that. That's perfect. But SPX actually swept that high from Friday. We completed the gap fill too. To see how this 15-minute closes. Obviously, it's going to be a high volume candle. I just don't know if it's going to be as large of a wick as we think it might be. Good rejection there. Really like that. I'm surprised that YM didn't sweep its weekly highs though. I'd like to see the side pivot tested at the very least. Yes. Yeah, you can read here. Oh, hey, Koshik. Try to trade short here. 76.12 entry. It was really bad. A really bad entry, but or late entry, I should say. I got one account. Actually, one of the evals I entered a little bit earlier at 76.19. I just don't know that I believe in this trade, but I'll risk manage accordingly. Yeah, 15-minute looks good. I've been waiting for this gap fill for quite some time. SPX actually swept Friday's highs. The 600 ES could be a nice TP. 7600, yeah, I would like 7600. That'd be good. What is that, like 6 more points? 7600. I wanted to see 7598. Actually, it's a little higher now. It's 7599. I'm gonna go 7599. 7599 mainly because of the value area low, just slightly below that. So yeah, 7600 would be a good TP. I forgot to size up on the eval, so I mean, this isn't that great. Could bounce here too. Because this is Alma's upside pivot, and I do worry that we could hold up here, especially after that 925 candle sweep. 25, yeah, 920, 927 on a 1 minute. And NQ is also at an interesting spot for a bounce here. Yeah. Breaker retest, or retest of the swing highs. That works too for a bounce. NQ's getting to a spot here. If NQ, I worry about an NQ bounce around here based on some volume profile. That's why I'm doing. Yeah, there's still a sizable gap here, about 10 points down. That could fill. sweep there. I want to see NQ. This is I'm gonna take off here. I'm gonna take off here on the funded. I'm gonna let the eval go a little. See if I can hit my target. I worry about this bounce zone on NQ, that's why. Even though we can sweep, we might sweep first on NQ. Overnight low. I'm just not willing to risk any potential profits here. It was less than a 1 hour trade on my the funded accounts. But on the eval, it was could be better than what's this? 7 points. A 7-point stop loss. I don't want to count my chickens before I hatch. 19. Almost like a 3-hour trade at the lows there on the eval. Yes, man, that bounce. I had a suspicion that we could bounce right here just based on volume profile on the lower time frame. It's just a temporary bounce, I think, but it's enough to like mess up my nerves around an upside pivot. RSI oversold on NQ. 10 a.m. news. Oh, I did not, I wasn't paying attention to that. Oh, you mean Warsh? Warsh testifying again? So one, I forget what, is it like House Committee, and then the next one is like the Financial Committee. I forget which one's which, but yeah, I remember Jerome Powell always did like a two-day testifying too. 75.60. Yeah, even from a positioning perspective, it was a bit concerning at around 75.55, and we got to like 75.57, so pretty close to that edge of node there between 75.55. Like I should have been good taking it off there on the so I should be happy about that on the funded. I didn't take it off on the eval though, so. And this thing is reversing pretty good. It might be ES might be looking for a 1-hour doji close here. Yeah, under a 1-hour trade is no good. But I was just reading where the volume profile levels are and Alma's upside pivot, and also the breakdown by strike here suggested like a decent bounce too. Main reason why I closed. It may still hit its target, but there was just a lot in the way. Now I'm just wondering if this is like a retest for re-entry, potentially. 1 hour might doji close. That I mean, I didn't love my entry there. I like the entry on the eval, obviously, at 76.19-ish. The POC from Friday was hanging out in between 76.18 and 76.23. So I did want to see price run up to that POC and possibly sweep. And I think my stop loss theoretically should have been above the sweep of Friday's highs. In theory. I'm at break even on the eval. Not willing to risk this coming back up. Depending on the 1 hour close. 1 hour close is green. I don't think I'm in favor of going shorts anymore. The upside pivot basically held. Trump, Iran called a while ago. They want to make a deal. Of course. Hey, where did that news go? It appeared on my headline news feed, but it disappeared. Our skies are pretty orange today because of a wildfire that's happening in, I think, the northwestern part of Ontario, but the wind's blowing this way, so we're getting a lot of poor air quality, if you will. Yeah, this NQ looks like a long to me. There's an edge of node there on NQ. Funny enough, like on the 1 hour, you can kind of see this edge of node. Let me swing it back here. See this edge of node here, 70 at 771, 775, around here. And then on a lower time frame, on the 1 hour, there's like very similar edge of node that I'm tracking. All right, that was my break-even stop loss. Sucks. Yeah, every time I try to go against what I'm seeing from a discretionary perspective for a TP between volume profile and options depth, the positioning, gamma, or whatever you might want to call it. I always learn kind of like the hard way. $76.10. It seems like it wants to build up to 76.05 through to 76.20 if we do head up. This looks pretty bullish here, eh? And Warsh is on, so I always gotta be cautious. But NQ did provide an awesome setup off of volume profile level. Then you have the bottom wick. Hammer candle, if you will, on the 5-minute. So everything looks pretty good there for NQ. 15 minutes, massive bottom wick. And it'll probably fill up its 15-minute fair value gap, I would imagine. $75.80. That's still the edge of node there. 7600 is a real test though. The upside pivot held really nicely. I also heard that alpha futures. I know we were talking about it at some point, and we were thinking like they were actually a reputable prop firm. I don't know what happened, but they stopped offering trade of 8. So could be a concern. I didn't really read into it, but whenever these prop firms discontinue trade of 8, you have to wonder why, right? Yeah, they might be running into some troubles. And I see some of the, let me see here. Yeah, someone flagged it on a Discord that I saw, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. That alpha stopped offering trade of 8. Alpha has been canceled by Tradevate and their partners. My advice is file a chargeback if they deny the refund request and move along. I don't think they can recover from this. Yeah, right? Yeah, if they don't offer Tradevate anymore, it's very concerning. And normally Tradevate is pretty, like, it's to me the legitimacy bar. A lot of these prop firms have to meet certain guidelines in order to be able to use the Tradevate data and NinjaTrader data. And Tradevate and NinjaTrader, they're a real broker for futures accounts, right? So oftentimes they pull the plug on or they don't approve certain prop firms. If you remember FTT couldn't get Tradevate approval, even though the CEO said they were still working on it. I think TopStep had Tradevate initially, or NinjaTrader, one of those two, and then they stopped because they wanted to take over the prop space with their own platform, Project X. And then they apparently expanded way too far too fast, and they had to cancel Project X for all other prop firms instead of their own. So they only offer their own personal platform for Project X now, right? And they never did get back to paying Tradevate for to basically use them as a data provider. I see it as Project X or TopStep trying to just keep all the money in house, right? Yeah, we'll see what happened with Legends though. Like that campaign with the buy one get one, and on top of that, like $20 accounts for the buy one get one, $23 USD. That to me is a bit funky in a sense that they're trying to pull market share over to themselves. I just hope that they're doing it at a sustainable rate. Though there's no DCA with Legends unfunded, so I gotta be cognizant of that, because sometimes I DCA. Well, it could be classified as DCA anyways, if I'm entering with two contracts, where my first entry was like, I don't know how they're going to classify DCA. I just heard there's been other prop firms that classify two entries with one entry that's better than the previous, would classify as a DCA, which to me is kind of ridiculous.
It's a very interesting point you make about trading view being almost too accessible and making impulsive trades. I've caught myself making impulsive trades before, especially when it comes to overnight price action. And I would just take a trade just for the heck of it sometimes. And I don't have like my usual, like overnight trades is like not the best for me. It's all about reading the candles and volume profile, TA if you will. But there's no options depth during overnight trading hours, which makes it so difficult for me. And no options depth, and there's no options depth because dealers don't really hedge their books overnight. It's not a huge thing. Like apparently Vol Signal says they turned on the computer at around like 7 a.m. Some guy gets in and then turns on the computer, and that's when the dealer hedging really like starts for some firms, and then others start like at around 8:30, and it really truly doesn't start until like 9:30, where you start to really experience the dealer hedging flows, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I agree with you. Like the impulsiveness of having it easily accessible to trade on TradingView is a bit much. But I guess like I never really thought about it explicitly until you mentioned it. But my trading panel is NinjaTrader, right? And that's where I execute my orders or my trades. And yeah, like seeing it on TradingView, like whenever I have it on TradingView, it's on my mobile device. Technically, I can like copy trade. I can use like the leader account. So let's say account 1 and then account 2, 3, and 4 are like the followers when it comes to copy trading. Technically, I can set it up on NinjaTrader like that, and then take the trade on TradingView, and then the executions will follow on my copier. But I have to have NinjaTrader open in order to do that. But I don't like executing on TradingView. Like it's almost like a desperation thing. Because like I think you've probably experienced it, and you've already like maybe even heard it yourself. But TradingView doesn't have great like a great trading panel. They don't make it easy. Like it make it easy to market order a bunch of things, right? I mean, for shorts on ES. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for that Friday high on ES to be taken out, and then I'll watch it. With potential to kind of run towards 76.37. SPX already made a higher high, by the way. Straddle's about 16 points away from here. I carried 25 because
it seemed a bit odd. Like right now the straddle, yeah, I think it was around 25. I think it might have been even 27. The straddle was a bit off for me when I was doing it. So I thought, yeah, it was 27. Right at 9:30 it was 27. Yeah, and I entered it like 3 minutes before that, and it was telling me it was at 17 or 22. Should really have the options chain open and do it myself. Take us to about 98. Yeah, the straddle low happens to be at the gap fill. Interesting. A divergence between SPX and ES there. Actually, I'm not even watching Warsh right now. Give me one sec. I'm gonna pop it up.
Capital expenditures.
Hey, that was pretty good. It's a big one. NQ is about a sweep. Okay, NQ had swept overnight lows there. But I think it might want to run down a little bit. Maybe like 30 points. Okay, there goes NQ. Did you get that short? $10.20. Yeah, $10.20 would have confirmed it for you, eh? Or 10, yeah, it would have been a 10.20 close. Yeah. Yeah, SPX kind of just front ran that thing. No. I was just commenting that I was just like SPX got the sweep, but ES did not. And it was at the end of the 10:15 close that I mentioned that. Brutal. I didn't take the trade. Yeah. Freaking golden, right? Man, that was like such an easy move. Holy cow. And it gave a lower risk entry too, with the 1 minute fair value gap retest. This thing should go to gap fill though. I'm just not willing to I'm not willing to give this a try. This is way too deep. It's gonna be NQ is actually trending pretty good. But that was another edge of note, I believe. Brutal. Yeah, I think today's gonna be very much like yesterday, where we just kind of chop, like deep pullbacks, like the main overall structure kind of holds, but yeah, dang, NQ is offering like a pretty decent long there.
Yeah, it's gonna be another ugly day just because Warsh is on, right? But yeah, I guess so. You might be right. The volume does look okay. The candles look messed up though on the 15-minute. Yeah, I'm uninterested in this range now. But you called it. You called the trade. Yeah, see, like, look at the 15-minute candles. It looks messy. This might be the re-entry to short, but yeah, yeah. Yeah, okay, you just messaged me about that too. Nice. Sorry, I don't always have the Discord open. I have to click back and forth. It's a good 1 minute top wick there. Doji candle. If this goes, then in theory it should go all the way down to gap fill, right? I just don't know. That's the IFVG there. 1 minute IFVG bounce. Of course, this is Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren's going off on Warsh and won't even let him answer. Elizabeth Warren's going nuts. All right, 5-minute doji close. Is this an up or down? Indecision. Yeah. NQ looks like it wants to go down further. Man, I was really tempted to short that one. Yeah, NQ just keeps going. I mean, that was like, I would have stopped lost right above that doji candle. So we entered right at the doji. So you got 76.16. You got 3 point stop loss, and it's already gone like, I don't know, like 10 points from there. But I've seen my it's definitely happened to me where my stop loss is right above the doji candle, and I've gotten killed before it, like, stop loss hit before the TP hit, which kind of sucks. Like sometimes it wicks over it. Which one is this? Federal Cherry Reserve hearing. This is the Senate Banking Committee. Yeah, just ES does not want to do much. Like, you almost can't play continuation. No continuation today and yesterday. Like, yeah, the overall trend was up yesterday. So in theory, it would have been okay to play longs, but there's a lot of deep retests that happened. And it took a lot of time to really truly play out. Yeah, our skies are pretty orange today from that wildfire. I don't know if you were here when I was talking about that. So a very orange sky, cloudy, but it's not really clouds. It's more like ashes. Yeah. I've been definitely watching the daily, and I want to think we're gonna break out, but there's no certainty there either, right? One thing that I did like about Alma's take so far is that she was expecting like the summer chop, if you will, and she's been pretty strict about her entries and exits, but they're swing entries and exits. And I think she was saying buy under 7,300 SPX and then take profit at like 75.20 or 75.50 or something like that. So we're pretty much there, and for the most part, she expected ranging. Yeah, I don't think that went to gap fill either. So there's still a gap to fill, just about 9 points lower, maybe 10 points lower than the low of day on SPX. Five-minute bottom wick on NQ there. I just don't know if it's going to run up. Like, I don't think it's going to run up. Could be doing a deep retracement here. Maybe a wick retest some sort. I'm going to try it on one funded account though. Try a long on NQ. Just one single NQ. 68. And I can't take more than 50 points of profit. 30. Yeah, if I take more than 50 points of profit, it'll exceed the 35% consistency. But maybe it doesn't matter. Yeah, like I'll just have to make more profits above. That's the thing. It's always like a battle between consistency and building up your account on a single trade. I'm at break even already. Not gonna let this come back down here, even though it might. 68 entry, 568 entry, take profit at 625. Not afraid to pull the plug early here. But it might not even give me an opportunity to pull the plug early. All right, I sacked it, closed it. We're just under 50 points. So that's one thing that I notice about NQ if you're like precise with your entry somehow, you can kind of somehow make it work to your advantage, because it goes so fast, so far, like it's worth so much, right? It's so volatile. Like you can get 50 points in like a matter of a minute, and you don't have to stay in the trade that long. The only problem is holding it through. And this one was interesting here because main reason why I took the long was because we were at a high volume node. You can't really see it on the hourly, but we also swept some levels here. So I thought it's the consolidation level from yesterday. It was like the London consolidation levels from yesterday that we swept. And then on my 1 hour Lux Algo volume profile, it just showed me that that there's a high volume node there, or high value node. So there's like a potential for a rebound, especially if I got the wick retest. If half the wick gets retested, I like a long on NQ. The risk would have been, actually, let me double check what the risk is. The risk was like 25 points on NQ. But that could have easily went against me. And 25 points is like $500 on NQ. But that was just like a quick and dirty scalp. It almost went, I think it went almost like 80 points. Took it off at 20, just under 50. But I really like that 5-minute bottom wick with the higher volume. Everything about it was really nice. You can kind of see the high volume node here on the 1 hour, but it's very, very subtle. 5-minute was this. And you can see the volume candle is massive compared to the previous candles. But to me, that was like a termination. And then the fact that we came to retest just over half the wick made me want to give it a shot. You're seeing a long opportunity on ES. I want to say wait for, like, if you're scalping long opportunity, sure, as long as you have like a decent win rate on those type of scalps, but or a decent risk reward, I should say. But I worry that liquidity is at the SPX gap fill, which you're seeing here, about 10 points lower than the low of day. So just be a little cautious there. It doesn't mean that we can't go long here. We very much could go long. So trust your framework. Because there's definitely scalps that are available throughout this day, especially like to VWAP. Like from here to VWAP, very possible. But I just, right now, I don't want to trade against the ES or SPX liquidity being the gap fill at 75.44-ish. And we're currently sitting at 75.55. So just be wary about that. Yeah, this 1 hour setup is starting to look really bearish. You got 4 minutes until the close. So hopefully this 1 hour starts shaping up to be a little bit better. But you got the SMT here between ES and NQ. I still don't want to trade against that gap fill though. If it's a scalp that you trust, go for it, and you're okay taking the risk. If you see a setup anyways. It's 75.58. I'll be right back here. Okay, I'm back.
Straddle here is about 21 points still. Decent SMT. Ooh, does that count as confirmation? It's a little low. Yeah, I want to see how many points you go in for. 76.11. Very, very conservative. Yeah, 15-minute close look pretty good for an up move there. A deep retracement, up move. Yeah, it looks like a TP hit. Oh,
Damn. Yeah, see, that 1 minute candle.
where I said that could have been it. I think it was 11:05. The only problem was it wasn't a volume that exceeded the average, right? It was high volume relative to the last 3 candles. Damn, that looked good. And I think that hit your take profit to the tick, right? It's insane. It's really good. I'm still not sure if this is like another short opportunity that's presenting itself. Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, sometimes I go like a few ticks. Sometimes I go a whole point. And I'll pull the trade if like it's at a key spot and it's like you saw earlier, I pulled the trade on the funded, I think. When ES or SPX breakdown by strike had a confluence with an NQ volume profile level. And then we went way back up, which I would have already been at break even. So it would have been a break even trade on those fundeds if I had held.
But there's something about this PA that I feel more comfortable trading. Yeah, I was still wondering, just based on the 1 hour, I was wondering if this is like a short opportunity. I'm still not sure if it is, but it sure looks like it. Just because we still have liquidity lower. Yeah, it was a short opportunity. Holy cow. Right off of VWAP. Yeah, that NQ trade just on the 5 minute looks like I'm picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. Yeah, look at this thing go. Holy cow. Now we're running. I wonder if this takes out the 8:30 or 8 o'clock lows. 8:30 lows? No, 8:15. 8:15 lows. 8:20. Depending on what time frame you're looking at, but yeah. I think you got the general idea. Did that gap fill?
Oh, it's pretty close. Not quite there. Where did we, that high was around 65, 75, 67. 75, 67. Oh, that's interesting. Basically, there's a negative gamma strike at 75.70 that could have been influencing that one. Oh, look at this bottom wick now. I'm not playing anything anymore. I feel like I've scalped a few too many and should be happy about where my progress for today. My goodness, like I love a good bottom wick like that. Wicked volume too. We want to go here. That low was at 448. Double check the daily there. Yeah, I wanted to see 40 hit. If 40 hits, then I'm okay. This is not pretty here. This is a tough one. Pretty deep retest here. But I think it's gonna run it. Like it's gonna run the lows here. Very ugly. But low risk entry. Like you can risk 4 points here. Maybe 5 points actually. 4 to 5 points. I can't do it. I'm not gonna do it.
Just as I said that, we're up 2 points. Yeah, I just can't pull the plug. Or I can't take this trade. Though it's already up 5 points. See how this 15-minute closes. Looks like it's gonna close bottom wick. Damn. Guess the long was the opportunity. Deep retracement too. So I think it went about 8 points there. Yeah. But I feel like I didn't want to push my luck there. Yeah, that's a great 15-minute close. That might have been it. You can argue that that was a gap fill too. Yeah, massive bottom wick. Holy cow. That's such a gigantic bottom wick. I won't be able to trade this. I think I'm done for the day. Felt like I pushed my luck on these scalps here. And I don't want to get too emotional trading. So like I get the feeling that my my win rate for the day will probably come down if I continue trading. Too much discretionary in range trading. Oh, shake, you're surviving this chop again. Barely. Oh, you're in longs. Beautiful. That's great. I like the longs too. So hopefully you had a good entry. I think you probably got a little bit of confirmation around arguably 11.18 or 11:23, 24. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay. Let's go. Yeah, I thought about a entry when it was at like 95.96, but I didn't go with it. $11.17 gave the entry, but I was not paying attention. $11.17. Yeah, that's all right. 10.22. 10.22. What do you mean? 11.22 retrace gave me an entry. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, exactly. That's when I was looking too. Except I wasn't watching the 1 minute. I was actually looking at the 5 minute, and it was just like a wick retest, a deep wick retest, but that thing paid pretty good. It got pretty close to VWAP there, so what are you aiming for? Let me see. 09, 09. About 2 ticks. Yeah, that's about 09. Oh, that's an ugly looking 5 minute doji there. Yeah, today's price action just sucks. I hate this. Manually. Oh, beautiful. I hope it confirms that your manual exit was perfect. You finish green today, I think you're golden, man. Today's ugly. Got 1 hour. Beautiful. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, this price action is so ugly. Anyways, I think I'm gonna call it a day here. Got my kid at home, so I'm gonna see if I can get him some lunch early. Make him some lunch. And yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow morning. And hopefully tomorrow will be cleaner. Yeah, see you tomorrow.